What's up, everybody?
I remember that day.
That was a good day. That was a very good day. A very happy day. I know I was happy.
That was my first 49ers game. That was awesome.
How you guys
Brian,
doing
how
tonight?
are you, buddy? How you
I'm
doing?
doing. I'm doing good. That game, that day, that was amazing. And yeah, all three of us was able to meet. And since then, it's just been really a lot of fun. Shout
Oh yeah.
out to everybody. That was a lot of people that got to come together and meet, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm
You
doing great.
know, that's what made it most memorable. Like we all have known each other online and yada yada yada, but actually to see each other in person, say hey, shake hands, hugs, and just lay eyes on one another. That was like the ultimate.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
what this
folks,
fan base
we're
is about.
real people. We're not AI robots.
Yeah, I know. This is not AI generated.
If people didn't know, I'm a hugger. I'll hug you if I see you. If I know you. So don't be shy. Don't be scared.
Yeah. That's the one thing. That's the number one thing I remember. Like the first thing I remember, you bumping me and me turning around, seeing you, and then we just hugged. Awesome. All right. Let's get to it. We're too happy with each other. You know, enough of the love fest. We got some news, some things to talk about. So let's get into it. First, we'll switch it up. We just signed a tight end, Logan Thomas from the Washington Commanders. Add some depth to the tight end room. We got something about going to the Commanders to get tight ends. This is the second one under this regime. So, fellas, I'm picking your brains. What do you think of this signing?
Right?
No, I like it. And yeah, that's a good reference, going to Washington. We kind of let Vernon Davis go that way, and then since then we got
Yep.
Jordan Reed, and
Yep.
Jordan Reed was really good for us there for a short period of time, and now it's like this might be our next Jordan Reed. I think Logan Thomas, if you get to watch his little highlight on YouTube, it's a lot of one-handed catches, a lot of yards after they run. I'm seeing what Sam Howell looks really good as a quarterback, but Jordan Reed, listen to me. Logan Thomas, he made Sam Howell look really good. So for him to come to our team now, and I think being backup to Kittle, he's going to get a lot of action, a lot of attention.
I think it's a good signing. He's a solid tight end. He's 32 years old, so he's obviously not the future, but he's good. He's going to be good for us for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
55 catches for 496 yards last year. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Four touchdowns. That's pretty good. So that's better than any other tight end we have on the roster, not named George Kittle. Right? And honestly, we still don't know what we got in Cameron Latou and Braden Willis, but ought to make camp interesting. I mean, those guys are going to be fighting for their jobs now, right?
Exactly. I'm in agreement with you guys. I like the signing. He's a veteran tight end. He's had good production in the league. He's played on a bad team. let's put that out there. Played on a bad team that the quarterback situation was always in flux. But David, you just mentioned his stats. I mean, those are the numbers that we've been clamoring for from a tight end number 2. Like we've always said, George Kittle just needs a second. And we don't need someone to do exactly what George does, but if we can get just like half of what George does, give him some type of competency out there, we would be so much better. Well, he's that type of tight end. And as we're trying to make this Super Bowl run again this season, He's the guy that can help us greatly in that role. And maybe George won't take so much of a beating during the season because we have to use him so much.
Hey, that's another thing too. George Kittle probably missed a game or two. So now we have a competent tight end to come in and not necessarily totally fill his shoes, but at least fill in for him better than Charlie Warner or Ross Dwelly could.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, see, and that's the thing. Excuse me. Like those guys, you talk about those guys filling in. Like you can say they just did nothing. Like they didn't even fill in. They were non-existent in the offense, especially last season. So you need a competent tight end too. And like with this signing, we don't have to have that huge question mark of what's Cam Latu going to be this season, or will Braden Willis shake out this season? We know we got a competent number 2, and the 49ers can do with those guys what they can do, right? Redshirt them another year, have them on the practice squad, whatever. But it takes that huge question mark away from the whole thing.
Well, when it comes down to it, I definitely don't want to see them redshirt another year. I want them out there.
No.
But at the same time, we typically keep 4 tight ends.
Yeah.
So, but those guys have to compete for their job, along with the, Logan Thomas. I think, what was that one guy, Sourdough, or who's that one guy?
We got Pline. Yeah.
Yep, that was an undrafted free agent rookie. And then we signed another guy, I think, as just a camp body.
Yeah.
I can't remember what. I can't actually remember the guy's name. That's how high up on my list he is,
Mm-hmm. And that's the same for everybody. You just don't even know his name.
Do you think the issue is like what Kittle does? And in my opinion, I don't want you to speak for you guys, but in my opinion, I think Kittle is more of a football player than just a tight end. And if I'm correct, he started out as an offensive lineman, right? His dad and his family started him learning how to block.
I was teaching him
being able to catch is just something that, hey, that's great. Yeah, that's another thing underneath your belt. So for him, our offensive line having a weakness and him being out there is really, it alleviates a lot of stress on the rest of the team, right? Because he can pick up and block very well. So when we put another tight end out there and he's not on the field, when he doesn't need to block and he can slip away and make those spectacular catches and stuff like that, I think that's where we're like, wow, look how Mason Kittle is, because at that moment, somehow he was not able to he didn't need to be used as blocking at that moment. And he was able to, show his hands, right? I would like to see what he would look like on another team where he is primarily more of a wide receiver, more of a tight end that goes out and catches. But I think that's our issue is we've had a blocking tight end and everybody knew he was a blocking tight end. So maybe that's where the defense started stunting against him. And then you get a passing wide receiver, passing tight end, and everybody knew he was good, but we never threw him the ball. Like, come on, Ross Dwelly got 3 catches a year or something like that. And that's including training camp. I mean, come on, guys. If you don't use them, then you're going to lose them, right? Or you're just wasting them. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to look for somebody who's as good as George Kittle, and we might not be able to find that. So I think what they're looking for is somebody who's either really good at one thing that, because you either have to be really good at catching and better than George Kittle, or you have to be really phenomenal at blocking to be able to go out there and do half of what Kittle's doing. Because if he can do both of those positions very well, we need a player that can come in and do it way better than Kittle in one area, right? And I think that's what we're looking for, where we have somebody like Logan or somebody like Jordan Reed. They came in and just, again, maybe this was because Kittle was a rookie, or early in his career, but I think Jordan Reed was a way better tight end than, at least at catching, than, Kittle at the time. Now that could be, a little bit different for Logan, but Logan Thomas also being versatile, being able to play, I believe, quarterback as well. That makes it maybe a little trickery, and we know how we like to see other players throw the football out there. So I just think this is a win for us. And I think, he could come in as being a veteran and still tight end too. We keep maybe Cameron Latou, and then, I don't know about Braden Willis, guys. There was that moment in there's a couple moments where on special teams, I wish he was more of a dog player, and it looks like he's standing when he should be acting, or moving, and I don't know. It's like in basketball, you don't ever want to get caught with your feet, standing still, right?
Yeah.
You always want to be moving. So keeping 4 tight ends, I definitely see it possible, but I don't know. We'll see. I definitely think this signing is a legitimate signing.
Oh yeah, I believe he'll be more than just a camp body. He is someone that Kyle will put in there to compete in that backup role, and probably has some ideas of how he wants to use him. Because I don't think this is just a generic signing at all. So,
I really don't think so.
Yeah.
I think he was brought in to be tight end 2 this year.
Yep.
And maybe throw a fire under the 2 guys that are second-year players to see what they got. Cause some competition.
I think it's too early to just let Braden Willis or really Cameron Latou go. I think those are probably tight end 3 and 4. I think you kind of have to see what they got.
Oh, yeah.
So the other tight end, Eric Sobert, or is it sorbet? Is it like the ice cream? That's the other guy we said.
I think you said it right. Yeah, but we don't know about him, so he's just like the other 2, the 2 rookies we signed last year, they're question marks, and we really don't know what they will be or how they'll shake up. So I don't know. And Bebop, first of all, shout out to everybody in the chat. Mariah was in here, Rob D, Tony, Kenny, Bebop. Thanks to everybody for joining us. This is a huge point. Bebop says, sucks we weren't able to see more of Jordan Reed. Of course, we signed Jordan Reed from Washington, and he played so well that it really sucked that he got injured and we lost him. But you saw with him the value of having a decent tight end 2 that can go out there and make plays and help move the chains and get things done. He was special. He played so well. Oh, what a loss.
That year when we had both those tight ends, it seemed like we only had one for the beginning of the year and the other one for the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing. They never played together.
Yeah, it would have been something.
And we were hoping.
We haven't really had 2 decent tight ends, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, or please do. Since really Delaney Walker and Vernon Davis.
Davis. That was the last time we can cite a tight end duo.
I remember
Select on the team.
That just wasn't the same thing.
So yeah. So it's just a shame. Jordan Reed, I was thinking about him. It's just bad. But if Thomas can come in and just be complimentary, do us some things, and Brian, you brought up a big thing. If he's just given the opportunity to make plays, and if he can do so, we'll be so much better off in the offense.
Yeah.
And I think Kyle, I don't think this is just a random thing. I think Kyle sees him as, all right, this is someone that I can put in there. If I have to take George out or use he and George together, and they can make plays for us. I'm finding a pattern, and maybe you guys correct me, again, if you don't see it, but I'm seeing a lot of
Wes Walker type of players that Kyle's going after, like even like a Trent Taylor style player, where we're getting these guys that are a lot of guys going in the middle, slash players, guys that are really quick. You better not miss them, because if you don't tackle them, they're taking it to the house. But not necessarily the guys that are like the biggest powerhouse guys either. I think we're going for speed right now. Yeah, I really think it's I don't think it's deep routes. I think it's quick cuts, a lot of post routes. And I don't know, what do you guys think? Because we got our bruisers. We already have our running backs. If we choose to use them that way, we can pound the ball. So,
man, I'm looking through our roster. I don't see Alfredo Gutierrez anymore.
I think we let him go. I think that other guy we got from Dallas,
Isaac Alarcon. Is that our international player now?
I think he's the one we got from Dallas.
Yeah.
Huh.
Bryant, you are correct, I believe. Yeah. Let Gutierrez go and sign that guy from Dallas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mate Gutierrez is a nice guy.
I know Bebop says Juice is tight end too. Should be used as such. I agree.
Yeah.
I always feel the offense is always better when everyone gets involved, and that includes using Juice. Getting him out on patterns, letting him run. He can get open. We've seen it time and time again. His number just needs to be called. So I'm with you there.
Man.
Yeah, anytime Juice is on the field, I think we got a winning chances.
Yeah, well, Brian, but yeah, the one big thing that was missing from the offense is just like a pure speed element. And I know they tried to accomplish that with signing Danny Gray when they drafted Danny Gray.
Yeah.
But the knock on him was his route running isn't up to snuff. Like his route running is just poor. Let's put it out there.
Danny Gray?
Okay. Yeah. That was the knock on Danny Gray. That his route running was just poor, that they found out. Like Kyle said it wasn't up to snuff. So you see what they did in the draft this year. They got guys with some speed who are also good route runners.
Yep. And don't forget Garendo, the 4.33, the 6'2", 220 plus 4.33 running back. That's like
who used to be a wide receiver, so understands route running.
Yeah.
Can use his hands. So, Brian, you always talk about if a guy can do more than just one thing. Okay, now you got a guy who can be a perfect complement to CMC, so that you can rest CMC some, because he can get out, catch the rock, run routes, and he can also run the ball. So there's no excuse for not resting CMC now.
Well, I don't think there's an excuse. I think his CMC's not coming out unless
he doesn't come out. And
he don't come out.
Yeah, he doesn't come out unless he wants to, and he's a football player first and foremost. He don't want to leave the game.
You better have a play out there that he can be on the field. I mean, you can utilize him, right? He didn't ask to come out.
And I think the coaches have to govern him a little bit more. Like, hey, come take a breather, man.
And I really do. I like that.
2 or 3 plays.
Players that want to be on the field the entire time. They're like, I'm earning my paycheck. I'm playing 60 minutes of football.
Right.
Not everyone can do it. I understand. But
nope.
Well, there's been suggestions that Garendo is going to be like Juice's replacement. It's like 4.33 fullback. That's a interesting thought in my opinion, but
I see it like he has the size maybe to be a fullback, but no. I think his worth is at the tailback position. You give him the ball, open up some holes for him and let him run. Now, if they want to get gadgetry, well, let's put it like this. If they want to do pure old school Bill Walsh West Coast offense and put 2 running backs back there who are capable of catching the ball out the backfield, and you put them out there both on patterns and create mismatches with linebackers, now you're cooking with something. I'm all for that.
Hey, I've been saying we need to change pace back, but I
Oh, big
also was
time.
hoping that they'd, get Frank Gore Jr., but he's part of the organization, folks.
Yeah.
If the 49ers would have to cut him, that would be, kind of over the top, because now they're cutting their man's kid, and, that I wouldn't want to deal with that myself,
Mhm.
Well, they've said no to other people. And we know they've said no to Jerry's kid. We know they've said no to other people's kids. And it's just, it's I don't know, maybe it's they've seen there's opportunity for him to go somewhere else, maybe progress somewhere else. But I think if he would have been available, and I think that they should have taken him. But then who do you say on the roster right now he should replace? I'm looking at two of the running backs that we had last year, and I'm not sure if we're going to keep anyone other than, honestly, CMC. With the draft picks that they got right now and the way they're trying to move the offense and stuff, I like Mason and I like Elijah Mitchell. But honestly, guys, did we use them at all last year? Now I know. Again, right? That's CMC's fault, right? Because he doesn't want to come out. But when he does come out, did we use the other guys? It's like, I don't know. So
Yeah, we
you got to
basically
be with
didn't
the
use it all. Yeah. Even when CMC did come out the game, it was like, we're gonna throw the ball a little bit right now. We didn't really pass the ball.
Is it lack of confidence, or is it the guys aren't good enough, or they're like, we're not confident enough in them, or maybe again, is it skill, or I don't think they trust him. I really don't. I think they've seen some issues with Elijah. Maybe he had concussion issues, or maybe he had, like fumbling issues. We know for the first couple of seasons, he didn't fall backwards. And then the last year, I think it was the guys were tackling him and knocking him on his back. That's not what they want to see in camp. I know it's just camp, but they didn't use him very much in the regular season. And when they did, like you said, we threw the ball. Why don't you put Mason in there? If you don't trust Mitchell, put Mason in there, right? He seemed like he was like a little, to me, like Marshawn Lynch kind of,
Mm-hmm.
Well, the knock on Mason is he can't block.
Yeah, that was the big knock on him, and we saw it like in preseason. He missed a huge block that would have gotten Brock blown up. So number one rule is protect the quarterback, and we know Brock is the future. So it's like, this can't happen,
right?
So
Rob D, the new kickoff returns could use a good RB with vision and to find a hole.
And
that's what I've been talking about.
Yeah,
using like a Debo, combination of a couple guys back there that can like break a tackle. But Garendo has speed.
Exactly. He's got the speed and size. Speed to get around people, the size to break tackles.
I mean, look at who we drafted. Purcell, doesn't he have kick returning and punt returning experience?
Yeah.
And I believe
and
Cowing does too.
Cowing does as well.
Garendo does.
Yeah.
So we drafted 3 guys.
We got players who can easily fit the mold to be in there. Yep. So it's not an issue of bodies at this point. It's just finding the right guy for the job. Who's going to just take command of that thing. That's what we need to do.
Hopefully they have the football smarts and know when to fall on a ball. Shout out to Ray Ravencloud. But
situational football.
That's right. Football IQ, they call that, right?
Yep, football IQ. That's all it is.
But speaking of all the weapons and our good offense going forward here. We got this contract situation. A lot of A lot of stuff's coming out about. Other wide receivers are signing. So Justin Jefferson got $35 million a season, 4 seasons. Right. Amon St. Brown, I believe he got $30 million a season, 4 seasons. Now this ain't the guaranteed money, folks, but
no,
St. Brown got 77. I believe Justin Jefferson's
averages.
up over 100, ain't he?
Guaranteed money?
That's the one thing I don't know about his contract is the guaranteed money. But honestly, there's a little bit of a difference between these guys and Aiyuk. These guys are the number 1 target on their team.
Yeah.
Number one wide receiver, number 1 target. These guys have multiple Pro Bowl appearances. These guys have first team All-Pro selections. And, not necessarily to knock Aiyuk, but he hasn't been selected to the Pro Bowl. He does have a second team All-Pro, so he does have that. But he himself has said, I am the 4th option in this offense.
Yep.
So you just cost yourself some money, bud. Because, all these number 1 options are getting 30 to 35 million. I believe that one diva in Philly, what's his name? Brown?
Yeah.
AJ Brown. I believe he got like 2 million, something like that.
Yep.
And, all these wide receivers are signing contracts. Like, there's a couple other guys that are pretty close to Aiyuk's level that got, 76 million guaranteed. What's Aiyuk worth? What do you guys think he's worth? I got him at like 27, 28 million a season.
That's what I got. I got his annual number at 27, 28 million in there. His guaranteed number is going to be like 75 to 80 million. That's what it should be. And I think that's the number that means the most to these guys. Like that, the average thing, we all know that's smoke and mirrors. That's something for the fans to talk about. But these guys want to know how much actual cash am I going to guarantee to get?
So then, I think I could be in the 75 to 78 million range, and that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Not off base.
I actually think Steve-O hit it right on the number there, 110, 4-year contract, 110.
That's what Justin Jefferson got. Yeah, 110 guaranteed.
Oh, that's 110 guaranteed for.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, that's what I think about Aiyuk should get for his 4-year contract. Not necessarily guaranteed, but that would be $27.5 million a year.
Yeah.
Dang, $88 million due at signing. Am I in the wrong? I'm in the wrong.
I know.
Profession. Holy cow. Hey, didn't
these
we have
numbers the players
subject?
Focus on? Oops, sorry about that.
No. You said I was reading the thumbnail, and so Bryant, what are your chances against Fred Warner in a boxing match?
All right.
Wait.
Can I run?
Can you run? Well, that's a good question. Can you? Fred can run.
But if he's got to chase me, I think I'm going to be faster. All right. If you got to chase me, I'm winning. All right. I ain't going to be late for dinner, and I ain't going to get beat up either.
You win in that leg race. Okay.
So I still got all my teeth for a reason. I didn't miss a step. No, I don't know, guys. I would go to Aiyuk and say, "What do you want? How much do you want?" Because at this point, it seems like they're not going to. Well, we already know they're not paying him until almost the end. So he's ideally going to be the highest paid at the end of the season, at the beginning of the season, right? But it's like a you're the highest paid right now. and then they restructure people's contracts or re-sign people in the middle of the season before the trade. So then people get signed again, right? So it's like a short-term reward or a title, right? You're the highest paid for a minute,
Yeah.
and then you do it again, like right before people go to free agency and before the draft, and it's just a summer, circle and circle, right? But I would go to him and ask him what he wants. If I don't know if they are they're willing to pay him 75 to 80 million. I guess. You don't think one of the guys that's moving in, that we drafted could do what Aiyuk does? I mean, that's what I would be honestly asking myself if I was a coach. Do we have somebody on the team that we can even see do what Aiyuk does in even 2 years from now or 3 years from now? If the answer is yes, then maybe you don't want to pay Aiyuk all that money. If the answer is no, nobody on the team that we have anywhere close in the future is going to be able to replicate anything Aiyuk does, then, I mean, you got to save him. But right now, the speculation is they're thinking about getting rid of Debo in a year or two from now. So if that's the case, then what are you really thinking about doing? Because it doesn't sound like you're trying to keep people together. It sounds like you're trying to now trade assets away. So,
well, no. Hold on. They're not trying to trade anything away right now.
Well,
that's the media.
We don't want to get into everything, but they did potentially have a trade for either Aiyuk or Debo to the Steelers this year before during the draft. That didn't happen, so it didn't come to fruition. Whether or not it was offered or not, but that's what's been speculated, and everybody keeps saying it too. There is money. There's capital in these players. So if the Niners wanted to trade them, they're going to get what they're going to ask for. They definitely have value. So all these teams want Debo. All these teams want Aiyuk. And we know these contracts are coming up. So is the option out there, is the possibility of these players actually getting traded next year or a year from now? Yes. And that's what we have to look at is are the Niners looking at the office, looking at saying, okay, did we draft anybody that's going to replace Debo? Or do we draft anybody that's going to replace Aiyuk? Because if the answer is yes, then why pay these guys?
Well, one, you pay them because they deserve it. They've earned it. And two, like, you're still chasing the Super Bowl. And they give you the best options to do that right now. Now, remember, the 49ers didn't make offers to people. People make offers to them. Mm-hmm. Which happens all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I can come to you guys right now and be like, hey, I want to make you an offer for your car right now. I'll give you X, Y, and Z and, a case of Bud. And you could be like, okay, but no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. A trade offer was on the table, but you didn't take it and you didn't initiate it. So it means nothing. Plus, you don't want to trade your car. You really like your car. You plan on keeping it. Those things happen all the time. Last year, when we were dealing with Nick Bosa's contract, you don't think a team called and was like, hey, we have a package for Nick Bosa. Just hear us out. I'll give you 2 first-rounders and my son. That's on the table. Just tell me if you're interested. Think about it. These things happen. Just because, like, the media says, oh, an offer is out there, doesn't mean we have to do it. Doesn't mean any team. That's the business of football. No, I think down the line, everyone's saying we can't afford to pay 2 receivers top money plus a quarterback plus this and this. And it's like, well, other teams are kind of doing that right now. So you never know what may happen. But I think the 49ers are planning on maybe having to lose a Debo or an Aiyuk down the line just for the business of football purposes. That's why we see them making an investment in the draft on receivers that are route runners with speed who can potentially bring a new dynamic to the offense.
Yep. So the son that's offered, Kenny Block?
Yeah. He may be able to. He's still rounding into form. We taught him some O-line skills, but he can also catch. So you never know.
Well, no block, no rock. That's why I'm asking.
That's right. No block, no rock. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So you never know.
Well, I think it definitely matters. And like, for example, if you have a really nice car, somebody's like, "Oh man, you got a really nice car." You're like, "Yeah, I do." You stand up a little bit more confident, or maybe you're cocky, whatever you want to say, right? You walk into the gas station or maybe you pay at the pump, whatever, right? And you're getting gas and you stand there, right? Because you're cool, right? Someone complimented you on your car. Well, when someone says, "Hey, I really like your player, would you be willing to trade it or, sell it?" Right. It's kind of the same thing as a compliment. They're saying, "Hey, I really like your car." Right. Yeah. Well, they didn't offer to buy your car, but they still said they like it. Right. Or if they offered, "Hey, you want to sell your car?" and you say no. Well, they like your car for a reason, or maybe they want to flip your car, right? They see value in your car, right? Well, we look at your player the same way. Well, if you have an old bucket, and I have an old bus and an old Volkswagen bus, and somebody walks by and says, "Oh, wow, cool bus." Yeah, that's cool, and then for me, I'm like, looking back at him like, "Why are you looking at my bus?" Because I don't want, it's like, it's just an old, bus, right? It's nothing special about it, right? But when somebody gives you a compliment, you're like, whoa, and you're like taken back, you're blown away because you're not expecting it. So you don't see anybody banging down the door for somebody like Juwan Jennings, right? But we're confident and we're okay with Juwan Jennings, right? Like, I'm comfortable with my Volkswagen bus. I know what I'm going to get out of it, right? I'm going to get down the road with it. So you have somebody confident like Juwan Jennings, your Volkswagen bus, you're okay with, right? But your car that's everybody likes, everybody wants, you have investment in that, you have value in that. So yeah, you don't want to sell it right now, but if somebody offers you the right price for it, you might have to go get a new Batmobile. And I think that's what it breaks down to. And I think that's why, like, nobody in the game right now is safe. And it is really interesting to see what direction they're going, because it does seem like we are replacing our wide receivers. It might not be this year. It definitely seems though that's what we're looking at doing is we're going to try to get players that go in the middle, catch the contested passes, can catch one-handed grabs, and can get yards after the catch. And it seems like we were going after the speed. So to me, I wouldn't pay anybody too much money, but that's me. I look for the deal. Okay.
Brian's in there saying, "Let's make a deal." Let's make a deal. Okay. So wait, hold on. Just to switch gears real quick. So it's reported that we got a whole bunch of new money in. So we'll have about 25 million under the cap. It's money to play with. We know they're working on Aiyuk, but there are several other players who are in the last year of their contract. So, putting on your GM hats real quick, you got some money to sign Aiyuk and another gentleman. Which player would you prioritize signing?
Diamador Lenore. He's proven he can play outside, inside. I mean, Hufanga, he's coming back from the ACL. I'd be kind of leery about signing him to a contract. Javarius Ward, he's probably going to be too expensive. Let's be honest. But yeah, Diamador Lenore, I would definitely sign him.
I'm going to jump in because I'm in agreement with that one. I think Demo is just young and up and coming and hungry, and he can be a number one. Well, he basically is a number one defensive back, cornerback. You can put him on your best wide receiver and just let him go to work. I mean, he's proven his value, whether that's on the outside or in the inside. Like, he's just that good. And I think he's only going to get better and better. Like, he's just scratching the surface. So for me, he would definitely be the second guy I signed to an extension. Bryant, what say you?
I'm not a big fan of any of them.
Oh, Brian says, let them all walk.
Yeah, in a sense, I do, because right now we keep signing players to 1 to 2 year deals, and if any one of them I offer a contract bulks at it, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm not going to play. I'm not going to play. I'm just going to say, okay, you either want to be a 49er or you don't. So I'm
No,
not
no,
going to
no, no,
really
no. We're
who
not
I want.
talking about, if a guy bolts. We're saying, hey,
No, but
this
I'm
is a
not going to.
guy. We want to sign him to an extension. You're the GM. You have a list of guys that are on their last years. Talanoa Hufanga, uh, Charvarius
Yamador,
Ward,
Lenore,
Yonder
Tavares,
Lenore.
uh,
Yeah, yeah,
on
exactly.
the defensive side, the offensive side, you're looking at guys like Aaron Banks, Jake
Aaron
Brendel,
Banks.
who
Yeah,
has
Jake
he
Brendel's
have
there.
arthritis or tendonitis in his knee, so that might not be such a
Yeah,
good idea to re-sign him.
yeah. Mitchell is there. Elijah Mitchell. So you got
Yeah.
a list of guys. Like from that list, who would you say? All right, I want to target this guy to sign him to a nice 4-year extension and have him on the team to help us continue this run.
To be honest with you, Hufanga, he could be hurt. So I don't know. The only reason I would be at this point signing him back or attempting to resign him until I see the extent of his injury or recovery would be because of what he's done in the past, right? And you do believe in what people's done in the past, and you do pay people for what they did in the past, right? Because you think they're going to replicate it in the future. But again, sometimes people get hurt, and that's kind of so. Do we want to take that risk? I would have to again just tread the water with him. I'll be honest with you. I think the one we let go, right? I know everybody's not the biggest fan of it, but Sam Darnold, I think we should have kept Sam Darnold, and he's no longer with the team, guys. And I'm sorry. So now we're looking at players that we should retain, right? Well,
Yes.
Tarvarius Ward, he seems to be the only one right now on the defense as a corner that I trust. But he's getting older, right? So I would ask him how much money he would want. And if he's not
He's
getting
only
too
28.
old, so how old is he? Is too old to be a quarter, So at that point, I would look at what he wants for to retain himself, his services, and that would be probably the first person I would go after. The offense, I don't think anybody's really safe on the offense or worth keeping on the offense. I think the only offensive lineman that we want to try to retain right now is Trent Williams. Not Trent. Our Silverback. Yeah, Trent Williams. I don't think anyone else matters, and not to try to put anybody down, but I think every one of them else, we could put any other guys on the line. As long as we got him, we're going to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I think Charvarius Ward. I like calling him Charizard.
You're funny. You just said Ward was old, and Trent Williams is a full 8 years older than him.
Mm-hmm.
So who's really old here?
It's all about who wants to retire, I guess, right? And then they say, I feel old, right? I feel old.
Oh man, yeah, I like that. So we're all in agreement. Defensive back, one of the two would be like after Brandon Aiyuk, that other guy that we try to sign to a long-term extension, shore up that defense. We know, and I think we all know, we went through some years where the cornerback position was kind of lean. We didn't even have a true number one out there.
Just Norman.
Oh man, things were ugly. That was terrible.
When Verrett was healthy, Verrett was really good, but he's kind of like he was like Nnamdi Asomugha, right? When the Raiders had him, he was really good. Nobody contested him, but then when he went to the Eagles, he got exposed. And then that's kind of like not what happened to him with us when he came from San Diego or the Chargers, but when we got him, it was our field or something. It just, the cleats didn't work right for him. He kept getting tore up, and sometimes when you have those injuries, it's real easy to injure it again, really the same way. And I think it was the different leg this time. He went up one year and came down the next year injured on the opposite leg. I could be wrong, but I think that's what happened. Really funny.
I don't know. This we have so many people like that we need to re-sign. I feel that could be resigned, might be resigned, like a Lenore or a Ward. I'm just real interested to see like what shapes out of all this, you know, because I feel that they have a lot of work to do. Because we talked about, them drafting like receivers for the future, but they didn't draft any corners for the future. I mean, they drafted one in Green, but like, could he be a true number one? They're talking about moving him inside. All right, that's inside. What about the two outside positions, which are more important? Like the secondary, just thinking of it long term, really just gives me the shakes.
So we do have two guys from last year, 2023.
Very true. Very true.
So, it's kind of, but we don't see the young players until, a couple years in typically. So hopefully this year we'll see what Luter Jr. has. Womack, man, the guy's shown flashes, but why doesn't he get time on the field? Last year it was because he was injured, and same thing with Luter Jr. They were both injured to start the season. But this year hopefully they can stay healthy, and we'll get a chance to see what they got. Right?
Exactly.
Then we also have Green and Javarius Ward and Lenore.
Yeah.
I mean, and what do we have? Yasin and Yadam and what's that? What's that other guy?
Well,
I think we signed them both to just like 1 or 2 year contracts, though.
1 year contracts. Those guys both
are
1 year contracts.
Yeah. So they're not like that's what I mean. Thinking about things long term. Entering the 2025-2026 season.
Yep.
What's our cornerback room going to look like? Jump in there, Brian.
Well, I have a question. You guys are a little bit more, definitely knowledgeable about this area, I think, of the 49ers for sure. So Hufanga plays the same position as Jair Brown, right?
In our defense, the safety positions are kind of interchangeable, though.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We don't really have the stronger free safety.
They're both just they're just safeties.
Yeah. Okay, because like what I'm getting at is, and then Mustafa, right?
Mm-hmm.
He plays the same position as well, right?
Yeah, you can say they all play the same.
It just seems to me like we're worried about like the back end of the defense, right? But we are not really worried about the sides. And I think that goes again because of what happened with Verrett. They were hoping Verrett was going to be here for a while. And without Verrett, now they're hoping these guys that we did get in the 4th and 5th rounds, we got some of our defensive backs in those rounds. They're not, I don't know, they're not panning out. Maybe they are, but maybe they're willing to give them a little bit more time. But it does seem like they are definitely concerned with the back end of our team because they keep going after the safeties. And right now, with our linebackers being able to get to the sides of the field the way they are, maybe that's the reason they're not so worried about necessarily the corners.
No, I think they're worried about the corners. I just think
sooner or later they got to address it, right? They got to go up a big name in free agency.
I think David hit the nail on the head. Like we have a young Womack. We drafted Luter Jr. last year. This year, Green. So that's 3 years in a row that they've drafted corners. That could be corners for the future. It's just we haven't seen enough of them on the field to know what they might be. Like we saw a little bit of Womack who flashed, and we're like, okay, we're kind of high on him.
When we seen Womack last year, he played mainly on special teams. And when we needed a player to come in, they still didn't bring Womack in. I know he was injured at that one point, but when he was injured, they still did not bring him in to play in the backfield when we could have used him. And it's just, to me, it's just.
Well, but we know how this team treats players that are injured at the beginning of the season. They just kind of stick them on the low end of the totem pole. And they're just like, all right, you're back there. Like the only reason why we would use you is in case of an emergency. And we know how Kyle is about playing young guys. Like David hit the nail on the head earlier when he mentioned Josh Norman. If you remember that year, it's because It was the 2020 season, correct? Verrett got injured first game of the season towards ACL. Now we had Diamador Lenore fill in for him. And I think what's the name started off the beginning of the season. No, maybe in 2021. Anyway, somebody was injured. We had some injuries.
2021 and Ambry Thomas
2021
ended the season.
Yeah. So
Yes.
we had those young guys on the team. But like I remember Lenore got injured at the beginning of the season and they kind of stuck him on the back burner. And instead of like playing these young guys and giving them an opportunity, they panicked and was like, we need a veteran. And that's them not having hope in their young guys. We need a vet, and went out and signed the worst vet they could get. And it backfired on them to the point where he got demoted all the way down to special teams. He wasn't even a backup. And they wound up going with the rookie Ambry Thomas to finish the season. And we saw Ambry Thomas get stronger and stronger each game.
I think
so they got to do that with these young guys some more. Like, give them the opportunity. And we talked about it on this show a lot. Give these young guys the opportunity to play and develop. That's the only reason. That's the only way you're going to really know if they're worthy to be on this team.
Yep. Well, then we signed Travarius Ward in the offseason into early 2022.
Yeah.
Now he's on year 3 of that contract, right?
Yeah.
And, Ambry Thomas, he's been inconsistent, but seeing Logan Ryan in there in the Super Bowl.
And that's once again that same Josh Norman panic of we need a veteran. Oh, let's call this guy. Oh, you're on vacation right now? You're not even training? Well, you know what? Come on in. Meanwhile, you have a healthy Womack there. You have a healthy Luter Jr. there. Guys who really played the position. And I understand we got thin at safety. We just did. And they needed someone. But when they wanted to use a corner, they went to the old veteran again. And it's like, wait a minute. He plays he's not a cornerback. He plays a safety. Yes, he can skills translate. You can do something, but you have dedicated guys who play corner, guys who played in the slot sitting there. Use them.
Does it make sense? Does it make sense that I say, okay, you're gonna work this week, you're gonna work next week, you're gonna work, it turns out, next 4 weeks in a row. 5th week comes, right? And all these weeks, we don't want to lose. We don't want to mess up. We gotta meet the demands, right? We need to win, right? Production is the key, right? But when it comes to week 5, you see this new guy standing in the break room. You're like, whoa, locker room, whatever you want to, metaphor you want to use, right? Who is this guy? And now he's running out onto the field, or he's standing in your position. He's at your work area. And you're like, wait, they trusted me all these other weeks, but now they don't trust me now. And then you find out that they told this guy, go ahead and stay on vacation. Go ahead. Wait, you don't have to hurry. We're willing to wait for you. How many jobs are willing to wait for you like that? And then tell the guy who's been doing the job, doing a great job at it, holding it down, a really nice guy too. A family guy, right? A team member, right? Somebody who's been part of running laps with the guys, making sure, right? One of the guys, they got to sit down. When do the Niners have confidence in their players? And when do they say, okay, we have favorites? This guy ain't even on the team. He's not even on the team. He's not even signed to the team. He's not anything. But you're telling him, go ahead, stay on vacation. We're willing to wait for you. You call our people because we'll be waiting for you.
It's terrible. They make some panicky backwards decisions. That's the one thing we can all agree with this regime. They have made some panic backward moves that don't make sense.
And that's something that I would like to see them get away from. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
they've also used to keep in mind, we used to take chances on injury prone players, right? Now the guys they're going after are pillars of health.
Yeah.
We used to take chances on very raw, high end, high reward type of
High risk,
rookies.
high
But
reward guys.
what was it? Boomer bust. Let's use that term. Boomer bust.
So
And now they're taking guys that have played a lot in college. You know, I'm hoping that they've learned their lessons. And sometimes it's 100% better.
So if
Hey, you never know, Kenny. I thought he was going to be cut last off season.
We all did. He
if I
sticks
was
around.
to tell you, I got this running back over here, okay, but he's had two ACL injuries, one on one leg and one on the right leg. Would you be willing to take a shot on him? For the Niners, it worked out. So maybe that's their mentality. They're like cocky. They said it worked out one time with us. We can take any injured player, and we just got to give them enough time, enough ointment, and they're going to be good, right? Enough ice baths, right? Because they got a new ice tub, right? And you look at somebody like Frank Gore. The guy, did anybody think he was going to do what he did? And the reason we got him is because of his prior injuries. So, I don't know. Again, like the Niners, they won 5 Super Bowls. So they know more than we do. And they will continue to remind us that.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. All right, fellas. We're hitting that hour time. It's been fun. It's been real. Oh, man. Love these Monday conversations. They get the juices going. I can't wait for the season to start. I know we got mandatory OTAs happening, but yeah, still guys just running around in shorts.
That fires up tomorrow, and we'll hear everyone talking about how Brandon Aiyuk ain't there. I'm hoping.
Or he's there, but sitting on the sideline alone, right?
Yeah,
he's working out on the sideline,
playing some video games on his phone or something. You know,
I like that one. He was jogging on the sideline. So weak. Yeah. But don't read into all the reports coming out of OTAs. We know how it is. This guy looked bad. This guy looked good. This quarterback completed, 5 of 9 passes. Just enjoy the fact that the team is together. What do you guys got going on this week? Tell the people.
Go ahead, David.
Well, Wednesday I go live with Ted. It's 3:20 p.m. PST. And then later on that night, it's 49er trivia. Although we've been talking a lot of 49ers lately. So, it's kind of a mix of things going on. I'm still trying to get through that 500 question book before preseason starts. So I think y'all need to wish me luck because I don't know if that's going to happen.
Fingers crossed for you, buddy. Brian, what you doing this week?
Well, this might be the only show of the week. You guys just turn your notifications on. And I think next week the show for us is on my channel. So that might be the only thing that I have going on for right now. My YouTube channel isn't, going away. It's just taking a small little, it's taking time. We need to have notifications to go live. And when I do go live, it might be random. So you might miss something. So just turn it on, check it out every once in a while. My new schedule's changed. So just until everything settles down, I won't be having a permanent video or a permanent live show. I'm looking at more or less doing some pre-records and dropping, videos like that. If you guys have seen any of my other videos where I might, do like kind of cool PowerPoint with some reggae music or something fun like that.
Nice.
Look out for the Volkswagens, folks. And with that, that's all I got. But go Niners. And I'll be next Monday. I'll get together with you guys and try to promote it a little bit and get a good turnout. And we should have something to talk about. Now, Juwan Jennings, you're welcome. I'm sure you heard the show last week, and I'm sure everybody else in the 49ers land heard it. And guess what? After you signed guess who showed up to camp? Right. So let's get BA signed next, right? Brandon Aiyuk.
Yep, exactly.
Next. We'll get you signed
He's
next.
next.
So.
That's right. All right, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss nothing. We're the Niners Coast to Coast team. David, take us home.
Hey, it's Go Niners, and as Corey Davis would say, F all 31 other teams.
That's right. Stay faithful, everybody.
Whoops.
Well, folks.
Hey, Brian, we're live on Ty's channel, buddy. So
I think you can out.